And, you've had quite a journey from, I don't know how much you weighed before you started this journey, but you've lost a lot of weight.
Mm-hmm. Like definitely a people pleaser, definitely somebody who was all about her family and her kids and didn't care about myself.
Yeah.
Diets ahoy since probably 10. I think I remember some of my earliest fond memories with my mother were going to a doctor's office to be prescribed fen-phen. And I liked the up pill so much, never took the down pill. It turned out later that it was to my best interest because I guess the orange pill to go down, as we called it when I was a kid, was the pill that caused the most heart damage. And, exercising all the time. I would start in the morning. I would get up at 4 or 5 in the morning. I would go and I would do my hour of cardio. Then I'd go throughout half the day and I'd go to the gym during lunch at school. And I'd spend most of my time there and I would just like cardio, cardio, cardio. Nothing ever really worked. On my 39th birthday, I woke up frustrated, angry, upset that here I am, I'm going to be 40 in this next year and I'm going to be this fat mom and I'm going to die early.
Welcome to The Controversial Truth, where we bring you content on health and medical science that nobody would ever tell you until now. I'm your host, Dr. Victoria Munoz, and today we have a very special episode for you. Stay tuned.
But yeah, it's just interesting to me how that simple little tiny change in my observation can really, really affect me. I'm like, I can't be sitting at a Kohl's parking lot with the, with my seat knocked all the way down and with the air conditioner on or with the car running and for 40 minutes sitting there. That's like, I'm so busy that to do that took such, it shot my day.
Yeah.
A hole in the head day. It was horrible. So I don't know. Lesson learned. But yeah, salting your food is extremely important. Like I don't even use pepper anymore.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah, I've come to find that that'll cause
It's
me
just
to.
an herb that you don't need.
I mean,
Right.
my kid can do it, and so can my husband.
Mhm.
They can tolerate it. I can't. Just can't tolerate it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It does make a lot of sense. So
Well, sometimes people say, well, isn't there a time and place for plants? And I say, yeah, there is. Plant foods are indicated if we have need them for medicinal purposes. Like herbal medicine is all about that. And I've used a number of herbal formulas to help people overcome, acute illnesses like flu, cold, earaches and things like that, where I believe it's actually the toxins in the plants that work as a medicinal component to help us overcome these infections. Because if it's a toxin, it's going to kill whatever is, offending us, right? Whether it's a virus or a fungus or something like that. In healthy state, no. But if we're having to treat an acute illness, then yes, these things can be taken just long enough to get us out of that state. Right. So another thing that people often question about the carnivore diet is vitamin C. The question is, well, won't I get scurvy if I'm not eating citrus fruits? And we go back to the sailors, the English sailors, the British boat where the sailors were getting scurvy. Well, they were also on a potato-based diet. Now, what the C in vitamin C stands for is collagen. And so when you're eating a good amount of collagen throughout the day, you don't need as much vitamin C. And actually, you get all the vitamin C you need in red meat, actually. So red meat provides this. We don't need as much if we're consuming a carnivore diet because again, the C stands for collagen. We're getting an abundance of collagen in our diet.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I mean, I recommend eating your steak rare, medium rare. Some people, but even so, some people will cook it pretty good and they still don't have any problems with vitamin C deficiency.
Okay.
So that's another one. Vitamin D, everybody needs it. It's not because we're not capable of manufacturing it through the sun. It's just we're not out in the sun.
Yeah,
You
not
know,
here, not here.
no. And even though we have sun 365 days out of the year here, well, it's really hot in the summer, so I wouldn't recommend going out. And then just the nature of our jobs, sitting inside. I mean, even myself as a doctor, I'm inside. I'm in the clinic talking to people or doing telemedicine. I'm not outside 85% of the time, which is what we need. We need about 85% of our time to be outdoors, connected to the earth for the grounding aspects of it, and, you know, exposed to the sun. A couple of things that are not going to happen is you're not going to get skin cancer from sun exposure. That has a lot to do with processed chemicals and garbage in our food that's causing a mutation in melanin in our skin. And then because of that, and because it's affected, it can't protect us from the UV rays anymore. So that's why people are, the skin cancer is not coming from the sun. It's the effect of the sun as a result of our diet. So the seed oils are big culprits for that. And then there are over 3,000 neurotoxins allowed in our food in the United States. That means that if Kellogg's makes a cereal, the same brand, the same type of cereal, let's just say Frosted Flakes. I can't even say it.
Fakes.
Frosted Flakes.
Frosted Flakes.
Frosted Flakes for, you know, just for the comparison. Frosted Flakes in the United States, I don't know exactly how many chemicals, but it's full of toxic chemicals. When they ship it to Canada, it has maybe 3 ingredients because the toxins aren't allowed to be in that cereal, because they have different organizations that are monitoring their national food chain. And the United States is the only country that allows all these poisonous, toxic, deadly chemicals in our food. The reason they can get away with it is because it doesn't kill you right away. But it's every time you consume it, it's killing you over time.
Right.
It's like the frog in the boiling water effect. So
I was thinking that.
So then when you get cancer, how can you go back and say, well, it was this chemical that I ate in this cereal, because it didn't kill you right away, right? So how do we know what actually caused that cancer? Well, you know, cleaning up the diet and getting the carbs out of your diet, not eating box, bag, barcoded processed foods can prevent that.
Yep.
Yep.
I agree with that. And you know, when I was moving through this journey of or this adventure I call weight loss, I used to start out with the whole perimeter shopping, and then, you know, as you become carnivore, you realize obviously you can't do the grains in the bakery department and things like that, even though it's supposed to be better for you than the stuff in the aisles. And then of course you don't want to do the fruits and vegetables.
Right.
But I definitely always wanted to keep my kids to that whole perimeter shopping, and so we would never, you know, very occasionally on an occasion, a holiday or something, we might do a sauce or we might do something else. But yeah, even my kids are starting to see, my middle child especially. I make fun of, one day she's going to be this crunchy mom, and where she's just like, you know, I don't want anything crappy in my foods. I want to prepare all my foods. If we do choose to eat vegetables at that time, she's pescatarian, but she leans more towards plant-based. So she's like, if I'm going to have my own victory garden, I'm going to do all that stuff myself. Everything's going to be self-perpetuated. I'm going to make sure that my compost is safe and my compost is thorough. You know, it's me and what I put in there.
Right.
And that they, you know, actually having a very strong grasp on that. And, you know, I've asked them, I guess for the last 10 or 15 years, I've done that with them, where I've been like, you want to make sure you have your own and have the most control over the food that you can. You know, at least it's what you can control, you know, do the best that you can. And so I think that they've got a good foundation. As far as either any of them really, my youngest really leans more towards carnivore anyway. He tends to be a little thinner because he's only 18, but he tends to be a little bit on the thinner side, and he's a little shorter. And so he tends to want to eat that meat more often and stuff too. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think it also it's on us as parents, on us as not just healthcare professionals, or is for the healthcare professionals to be able to teach that. I think that it's on us to make sure that we teach our kids too that, hey, like, I understand that you want to go here, but can you just try this for a little while and see where you end up?
Mm-hmm.
And as a matter of fact, it's actually caused my daughter to eat more fish, more protein, eat more chicken.
Yeah.
Make sure the chicken's thoroughly cooked and things like that. So I'm kind of slowly getting her to come more towards this way. I think that she'll start to eat less animal. I don't think she'll ever veer towards cows. She loves cows too much. For her, it's a mind thing. She just can't get over the cows and the lambs. She just can't.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay. Or pig, and she couldn't do pig, so she may only stay at chicken. She may only stay with fish. And if that's her thing, then
That's a
that's
step
her
forward.
thing.
Right.
And if I could just get her to eat more of that and eat more fats, but she's still very heavy. She still understands and knows something needs to change.
Mm-hmm.
She's just not there yet. She thinks that it's still very hormonal. She thinks, and I'm agreeing with her. Hey, it is hormonal. There are things, you come from me. And my journey, did you not see?
Well, hormone disruption is very common with people that eat a plant-based diet
Mm-hmm.
because
Yep.
our hormones are developed in the gut, and the plant-based diet just destroys our
Just
gut.
destroys the gut.
Yeah, people
Yep.
think they're doing something healthy for themselves, and I have to admire vegans a little bit because they're making an effort to be mindful of their diet. They're trying to clean it up and get the garbage out of their diet. So that's a step. I believe it's a step toward carnivore.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't call it an end point,
Mm-hmm.
simply because people that clean up their diet and they go vegan, they might feel better for the first 3 to 5 years, but then the nutrient deficiencies are so overt that they start to feel sick again, and putting on the weight and other things. You're not going to lose weight on a vegan diet. Well, you may lose weight, but ultimately the inflammation and other things, they're either going to leave you extremely gaunt and thin, or you're going to put the weight on.
Mm-hmm.
That's been my experience with vegans.
Well, yeah, they'll be, and then the cursor to that, or the what is the word I'm looking for? The excuse, I guess, that they get when they're all gaunt. And because I kind of got gaunt in the face for a while. I'm like, no, my face is lean. My face is lean. But now that I looked old, and now I look at myself, and with incorporating more of the protein and going carnivore, it's interesting. I get more compliments, and people are like, well, I would never peg you for this age. I'm like, well, how old do you think I am? And they're like, gosh, 30, 35, maybe at the most. I'm like, okay, I'll take it. 10 years younger, 5, 10, 15 years younger, I will take it. And, along with that comes the good skincare. Like, you've suggested to me some good skincare routines with regards to, the castor oil and the coconut oil, and then also the what is it, the methylene blue, I think it's
methylene blue,
methylene blue. And you showed me that, and I like literally every day, just religiously, and every day I'm putting it on my face. I'm like, younger. I'm like, absolutely, because I always joke around with my kids, I'm going to live to be 200. I'm going to live to be 200. Yep. And they're like, yeah, Mom, whatever. And I'm like, no, you do not understand. I'm going to live to be 200. Why not?
Right.
Our bodies are designed. There's somebody out there in the world that will live to be 150, 200 as of right now. That person's been born.
Right.
So why can't I shoot for that?
Right.
At least if I shoot for the stars and I hit the moon, at the bare minimum, 125, 130, I'm happy.
Yeah.
And then of course there's my husband. Why do you want to live that long? I'm like, I want to live that long. I want to see everything.
I got shit to do.
Everything. I do. Yeah. I say that all the time.
I feel the same way too. There's more businesses I want to start that, I've also considered going to law school. And there's so much I want to do in medicine. I've got 3 specialty areas of medicine now. And I'm just like, there's about 1,000 more things I want to do. I've got to live a long time to accomplish all these things.
Yep. And you might as well keep it simple with a simple diet. And it's not difficult to do, even if you don't have the time, hire someone to do it, and I know that sounds horrible.
That's my whole premise. Yes.
But absolutely.
Even as simple as it is.
Yeah. Because even then, but I, like I was saying before, with wanting to try and start that business, like I want to make it as simple as possible, because I myself am coming across that issue where I just don't have the time to prepare. As simple as it is, I just don't have time to prepare it. And so, instead of paying $40 an hour for a chef to come in and do it,
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's not a fad, but I think that it's starting to come into view that this is yet an additional resource of a diet that people are going to have to wake up and pay attention to.
Mm-hmm.
10 years ago, 5 years ago, there were no meal plans for vegans. There weren't any.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Like the food industry, Beyond Meat hadn't become a thing yet. The weird cheeses, the new vegan cheeses, they hadn't been a thing yet.
Right.
Why? Because there was no call for it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that now, I think that we're a little bit early on in the game, and I'm hoping that nobody catches on quick enough. But people like HelloFresh or Factor Meals, they're gonna want to be offering that carnivore option.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that they're going to do it to the extent that I will do it, where it'll be like, you need tallow, like you have to have specific ingredients. These
Yeah.
individuals, they will get sick.
Mm-hmm.
Your gut biome will be destroyed if you let an oil in there.
Right. Once you're adapted to a proper human diet, the other stuff it's just immediate toxicity.
Yep. And
Immediate.
it doesn't. It messes you
And
up.
you get the symptoms. Yeah.
So you need people to walk in there who genuinely care about you as a person, you as what you're eating, and
Mhm.
genuinely understand and know from their own experience that's what happened to
Yeah.
them. Well, that's why back in the day I used to have I've had and closed two businesses. They were cake businesses.
Uh-huh.
But I was very cognizant and aware, like, what are those allergies? Do kids have those allergies? Is
Mhm.
there an egg allergy? Butter, which nobody ever had a butter allergy, I can tell you that right now, but like a certain type of flour,
Right.
things like that, and or preservatives or a type of sugar that they could or couldn't use.
Mhm.
And I was really, really cognizant and careful with that. And thank you, COVID, for closing that. But now that I've learned, I probably will never ever start anything like that again.
Yeah.
But because I don't know, I don't think I could ever come up with a carnivore cake that would be tasty enough.
Maybe,
But
I don't know. Chris Cooking Nashville, he has a YouTube channel that I recommend to people. And they cook all kinds of carnivore delicacies. And I don't care to get that much into food prep, but he does some amazing things: pizzas, breads, and it's all 100% carnivore.
And I have seen that, like they'll do some cloud breads. They're out on the internet, and I've tried some of them, especially, or like some, like I do have a craving for pizza every once in a while.
Mhm.
And so when I want the pizza, I really don't want to have to deal with the bread.
Yeah.
So, and we've putzed around in our home about making, the chicken type of crust,
Mhm.
or like the panko crust, not the panko, what is it called? Pork rinds.
Yeah,
The
right.
pork rinds. And
Mhm.
so, and it tastes good. It tastes good. It's not the same thing as tasting the bread, which is a little bit of a brain curve for yourself.
Mhm.
But if you can get past your hunger noises and things like that, or
Mhm.
your brain noises with regards to food, or food noise, then it's fine. But honestly, at the end of the day, I'm kind of like, I'm not even really looking at food as total enjoyment. Like, if we ever go out to eat, it's like, I gotta eat. I have to go somewhere to eat and enjoy myself. Yeah, no, I'm not looking forward to that. Can I just get a full hamburger, please, with some, some bone broth in there or something
Yeah.
like that.
Mhm.
So, but I think I would like to investigate more about marrow. I'd really like to kind of get into the bone marrow
Yeah.
aspect, and like
Uh-huh.
learn more about that and how it is I could incorporate that in some foods.
Mm-hmm.
I did try sardines for a while. Sardines are. I really thought I
It's been a
craved
long time
them.
since I had a sardine.
I really thought I craved them. I was like, oh, I want that sardine for some reason. I feel like they're going to be good and salty. And I had them with some tuna, and I was like, this ain't it. This ain't it for me. Like, I'm still not there yet, but like I incorporate some organ meat, not often, but like we do still have some leftover calf's liver or cow's liver, and
Mm-hmm.
I'll incorporate that in some of the hamburger sometimes.
I see.
And
Uh-huh.
not often, but I'll crave it. It's weird. I'll want to taste. I'll want something a little more heavy, or something a little more hearty,
Mm-hmm.
which is funny because you say hearty, but you're like, I'm already having red meat. Seems a little weird.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's just like it's almost like a fullness, rather like a full flavor. Like instead of like garlic or onion powder or something like that, or pepper, it's put the liver in. It's just a different flavor.
Uh-huh.
So to me, it makes sense when it works for us.
Yeah.
So nobody in our home now they do, but those kinds of things. So I think that that's going to be. I think that I think we're early in entering into the market with that. I really think that that'll be something good
For sure.
for
Yeah.
something. And then somebody once upon a time also brought up, well, if you're going to do that, you might as well do things for pets too. You might as well give it more towards the pets and see what's up with that.
Yeah.
And because my animals, I've gone more towards that carnivore for my wonderful doggos, and their coats and their skins have improved.
Tremendously.
The only thing that I think I have found interesting about feeding them more carnivore and getting them off of the kibble itself is we're still trying to get rid of treats too. Like I'm trying to find a way to do regular treats that are carnivore that aren't processed. I just don't have the time to make them. But I have noticed that there's that, they talk about I guess like a foot fungus or something with the dogs where it kind of smells like a corn chippy kind of smell or something. That's where we're at right now with our dogs and trying to detox them. And so they have a tendency to lick their paws quite a bit. And because there's something going on agitation wise. And I'll be honest with you, every time I talk with the vets, I've gone to 2 or 3 vets and they're just constantly telling me, oh, well, it's something they're walking on, or it's the diet. So change the food. And then it's the food that they recommend, but it's like science diet. And you're like, really? That's full of crap and fillers. And every time I go through and I'm looking and they fill it with weird oils or a grain. Well, it's important for the dogs to eat the grains. And I'm like, why is it important for the dogs to eat the grains? Like if they wanted the grain, they would seek it. Like they go out and they eat stuff. They eat a vegetable or something, which I'm not saying a plant. They'll go out and eat grass because it'll upset their stomach, and then they'll purge that. There's a reason for that.
Right.
So and
it helps their digestion somehow. Yeah, I'm not real clear on what it does.
What it does.
My cats do it too.
But it doesn't bother me. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't agree with your grain statement. And my husband kind of goes, there's a little bit of what I could understand happening, because if they're eating other ruminant animals, they're also eating the stomachs of those ruminant animals too. But I'm like, are they only eating the lining, or are they eating what's in there too? So, I don't know. I guess I'd have to do more research on that. But I was told that there's definitely a pet market out there for it too.
Oh, absolutely.
So that was something I was looking into
and,
as well.
And the raw meat is real important. Like my cats eat raw. When you cook it, it does affect their health. So feeding them the raw meat is best, and giving them some organ meats in there, some liver and kidney and hearts.
We do necks and stuff too. The only my German Shepherd though, he's a little bit of a baby. He's a little biatch because he will not eat raw food. He just will not eat it.
He's just not adapted to it yet. I mean, it's just like humans, getting him off their plant-based diet, moving him to carnivore. At first they'll say, oh, meat doesn't agree with me, or I can't eat fat. Well, that's because you've been eating this wrong way for so long that's your body's adapted. Doesn't mean it's right.
Right. That's right. I guess he'll get hungry enough, right? You treat him like a child. After a while, you'll get hungry enough and actually eat what I make.
Yep.
I mean, that seems reasonable.
My cat Batman, he was a kibble addict before I switched him to carnivore. Now he loves his carnivore food.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, if I give him a little kibble, I'll give him a sprinkle once in a while, as a treat, but it's not like a meal or a full-time thing. But he still likes it. But yeah, he was a kibble addict, but now he tolerates the carnivore diet just fine.
Just fine.
Yeah,
because I
loves it.
We have moved more towards that carnivore because I actually had gotten busy, and so I bought some kibble for them because I got so busy I didn't have the time to even just fix them food, which is horrible. But I felt bad because I felt like I was doing them a disservice or neglecting them in some way because I wasn't feeding them a better diet. And you could tell in their stools, you can tell how they behave, you can tell how they sleep, you can tell that they get antsy and weird. It's just like children, you feed them the wrong diet, they get antsy, they get ADHD, they want to run around and move and do things. I mean, don't get me wrong, kids do that all the time, but more so disturbance related, more so anxiety ridden. Like I've noticed that my youngest dog, or not my youngest dog, she's actually my oldest dog, who had high anxiety, big time attachments, doesn't bark as much anymore. Is a little more calm, a little more apt to not charge people, a little more apt to just relax and and be a part of the pack.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a positive thing. But I did notice that was definitely a change in them.
Mm-hmm.
So that I don't know. I'm hoping, that it'll get better with time, which
We'll focus on the human food cater, food service first, and then
and
maybe
then move to the pet
maybe you
stuff.
could go, yeah.
Yeah, that's my little brain. My brain is always on and thinking. That's something that's been good about the carnivore diet
Mm-hmm.
as well. While it doesn't necessarily help me for my focus on my quote unquote what I call ADHD, where I'm just buzzing around with ideas all the time, it created the environment for the ideas to come.
Yeah.
It has caused it started to cause a little bit of less sleep, but then I'm okay with a little bit less sleep. And then I guess, I don't know, maybe it's just stress. I believe it's stress related, where lately I just haven't been able to sleep well. And so I'm tired,
Mm-hmm.
which kind of sort of sucks. But, I'm like, I'll supplement with some more fat. I'll just
Yeah.
supplement with more fat and more protein, and we'll see where we go.
Yeah.
But, I have found that also with the doggo food, actually, as a matter of fact, that it doesn't cost anything more.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it costs the same amount of money. Yeah, it's a little more time, but it costs the same amount of money. And I love my dogs. I will do anything for them. They're my babies now that my children are grown.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, why wouldn't I feel they can't help themselves?
Right.
Well, I need to help them. And
we're responsible we have an obligation to take care of them and to feed them properly and care for them.
Right. And they're entrusted to us. And so for no more money than what I bought the kibble for, it's silly to not to.
Yeah.
And I just cook them food alongside when I cook food. Well, then why not? And they eat twice a day. So, I mean, they don't get snacks or anything. They get a treat on occasion. I gotta figure out what they'll eat without that. But yeah, so yeah,
it's kind of like humans, a lot of people saying, well, steak's so expensive. Yeah, but how much are you spending on all that garbage that you're buying, and how much steak do you need in a day?
Mm-hmm.
I eat steak every day, and I eat that amount, and then I have another meal in the evening. It's usually bacon and eggs, because that's what I like.
Mm-hmm.
But with some butter. So you're really not spending a lot of money on food when you eat carnivore, and you're not going to have the hunger signals every 2 hours like you do on a plant-based diet.
That is true,
because it's the balance between the ghrelin and the leptin, how each is released to induce hunger and to create satiety, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when we're on a carnivore diet, the signals are balanced, and we're not getting an overabundance of the ghrelin that's telling us to eat. I mean, have you ever noticed that somebody can polish off a whole bag of chips, and for lack of the sake of the conversation, 1,000 calories maybe per bag, and they'll still be hungry? Mm-hmm. Why is that? Because of all the garbage they ate that's not shutting off that hunger signal and creating the satiety.
Yep.
And so these food manufacturers, they actually hire scientists to create these chemicals, put them in the food, so that you are constantly hungry and wanting to eat more and more.
Right, called the bliss point. Yeah.
Yep. And so so people don't feel satisfied. They're constantly eating and constantly claiming they're hungry. And then what do? They end up in their doctor's office looking for a weight loss pill, or they don't feel good or something, and then they're on all these medications, which makes them even more metabolically sick. It's just vicious cycle. So what are we doing? We're funding the food industry and the conventional healthcare industry,
all in one
with these foods.
Yep.
With this way of eating.
I agree.
Yeah, maybe steak's expensive, but it's not expensive. It's not your priority if that's the way you're looking at it. Right. You got to change your priority. I've never, even before now, back in the day when I was a poor student, I've never told myself I couldn't afford something. I always made sure that I was able to provide for myself what I needed to provide, and and I think as a result, the whole mindset of never telling myself, oh, I can't do this or I can't afford that, is what has created my success in life, right? So, I always look at it as the cup is half full, and so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to eat this because this is a proper food to eat. end of discussion. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I don't see anybody saying, "Oh, all this processed food I'm eating is expensive." It's expensive.
It's expensive.
Yeah,
It is
your
expensive.
food bill's going to go way down when you go carnivore,
Mm-hmm.
because you may be looking at the price tag on that steak, but when you look at the price tag over the month,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be significantly lower, you know, than all this boxed bag garbage that you're feeding yourself and your kids,
Mm-hmm.
and taking into consideration that you're hungry every 2 hours, or you're constantly eating,
Mm-hmm.
because the chemicals in these foods are triggering those hunger signals.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're eating all day long, and then you're consuming all this garbage, and you know your health care bills go up, your beauty treatments go up because you're aging at an exponential rate.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting sick at an exponential rate,
Mm-hmm.
and you're spending thousands of dollars that you could have avoided spending just eating a proper diet.
I agree with that statement. I genuinely do.
I had somebody say that to me the other day. Steak's so expensive. I said, how much money have you spent on, you know, facelifts, and everything, skin lifts, on and on, thousands of dollars. That is as a result of your diet.
Mm-hmm.
That is because you have not been metabolically healthy over your lifetime. So now you're requiring all these expensive surgeries to repair the damage that your diet has done to you.
Yep.
Why not just turn it around now?
Right.
Doesn't matter how old you are.
I'm too far gone. I'm too far gone.
Yeah, people
that's
say,
the way
well,
people think.
yeah, I'm not going to change it now. Sometimes I just kind of give up on people too and say, yeah, you're probably not going to change it.
Yeah. If that's the defeatist attitude that you have, then why
Mhm.
bother?
Yeah, no, that's just not for me. Well, your happy hours and your partying, and your alcohol and your sugary treats are gonna.
Alcohol just ages you anyway.
Oh,
I tell
God.
everybody, the moment you put an alcoholic beverage to your lips, you age like 5 years.
Oh, absolutely. Alcohol is
mean,
toxic to every cell in the body,
I
just
would-
like carbohydrate.
yeah, that's the whole point. It's fermented. It's actually bad. That's why it's fermented, and then you put that in your body, you're poisoning yourself anyway.
Yeah.
Like I always saw it that way. So drinking was never my thing, which thank you, I'm so glad for. But
Yeah.
I have noticed that in certain circles and certain individuals that I am around with regards to carnivore, when they actually move over to carnivore, they actually eat a lot more in that beginning stage. I kind of have my fingers crossed for some individuals because they eat so much, and they're like, and I want them to eat until they're satiated, until they're full, and so of course you're going to want more food.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's an incorporation of something you're still tagging or holding on to, but even then, I did notice as well too that when I first I want to say my second go around, where I kind of fell off and then went back on, I was eating a lot more meat. Like I would eat, and it's weird because I found myself, I think it was a brain thing where my brain wouldn't catch up with my stomach. Obviously, I've had a gastric bypass. I had the Roux-en-Y. So while I still have everything inside my body, I don't have the shape of the banana. I have a stomach about the size of an egg, which is probably the size of my fist now, being more than 5 years out. But as a result, like I'll eat, and the steak, I feel like I haven't eaten enough. Like I might be able to only eat 4 or 5 ounces of that 8-ounce steak,
right?
But I find myself coming back to it. And they always, the doctors, when you have the bypass surgery, they tell you don't graze. But I find myself grazing a little bit more on a carnivore when I was first starting out, was because I was like, okay, I'm hungry. I'll eat it, and then I eat, and I'm like, gosh, I feel like I can't eat another bite, and then I'll walk away, and then like 35 minutes later, I'll be like, I'm hungry again, and I couldn't tell whether it was because of the food noise in my head,
right,
or if I was really starting to just really truly digest faster, and my metabolism was speeding up, and
or maybe it's just that you weren't able to take in enough macronutrients in one time, in one sitting.
That's fair.
The size of your stomach probably only allowed a certain amount of food in it. You felt hungry because the stretch receptors in the stomach will, make you feel like you're full, right? Until you're full, but yep, you haven't eaten enough. So then you're coming back 30 minutes, an hour later, saying I'm hungry, right?
And then I'll eat.
Yeah.
And then I'll eat, or I'll believe it or not, I'll cut a piece of, snack a piece of like a tablespoon of butter, like a little pat of butter or something, and I'll just real quick.
Yeah.
Because I know it's a quick hit, and I know it's something that I can do really fast, that it won't take up a lot of room in my stomach.
Yeah.
Because if I get to a point with food where I've eaten too much steak or something, I can like literally, it literally feels like you're so full, like you're full up to here.
Mm-hmm.
And that happened prior to being carnivore as well. Like even on any diet, like on any diet that I ate, just based off of the stomach size, just sometimes it feels like it's all the way up here. You just feel so full. So, but I'll know that if I can just put a piece of butter in my mouth and slosh it around and then like swallow it, it does wonders for me. Sometimes I'll even put like a little tiny bit of salt in there too.
Yeah.
Even though the butter's salted, I'll still put that in there, and it just adds for that moment of satiety. It's like that fat moment, and some days I relish on that. I'm like, oh, so much. And they're just little tiny pats, and I'll just snack it real quick.
Yeah.
Like a little Scooby snack is what I call them. And so that helps me out a lot. But with my food noise, because sometimes I still have a little bit of disordered eating in there where it's like you can't eat, you can't eat, you can't eat, you can't eat, you can't eat. Well, if I have just a little piece of fat, I keep convincing myself. So
yeah.
I still have some psychological effects that I'm working through with regards to food noise. But I have noticed that some people just tend to eat a lot of food, just a lot of food. And I think it's just, like I said, I think it's still psychological. But I do know that
there could be there. I mean, yes, it could be behavioral. There could be definitely some physiological reasons for that. And what's happening is, well, it could take up to 6 months to really adapt to the carnivore diet. Doesn't mean you're going to be miserable for those 6 months. It just means that you're going to, have some struggles here and there, right? After 6 months, people are usually pretty solid with their eating plan and don't really have any cravings anymore and are able to. It took me a while to, at first I was eating more meals, just because I was used to it. My body was used to it. And then as time went and I learned how to do carnivore, because there's a technique to it. You don't just do it, there's a lot of people out there that are just going on a carnivore diet. I'm pretty sure that their journey is not long lasting unless they really do their research and at least connect with doctors like Dr. Kim Berry on YouTube, because he has a Patreon. I don't have a Patreon yet. I'd like to have one day, but yeah. But my channel's still new. I started this channel to educate my patients. That was the whole goal, and now I'm wanting to take it globally so that people can get the right information about health and healing. And so anyway, people can try and do it on their own, yeah, but I do recommend working with an expert like myself. There's other doctors like Dr. Kim Berry, Dr. Anthony Chafee, who eats basically a lion diet. He sits down and eats one big meal a day of steak, and he's good. And I in the beginning of my journey, I used to think, how does Dr. Chafee do that? Because I'm feeling like I need more meals, but I just had to learn how to eat. Like eating that big steak in the morning is like a big bolus of food, and it will sustain me for a long time. Yeah. And I do have to eat after I work out. And I think I would recommend that even for my athletes that are wanting to have gains, muscle gains, because there's that 1 hour window of opportunity that you're going to absorb your nutrients better. And there's biochemical and physiological reasons for that, which we won't go into in this podcast, but yeah, so eating right after you work out, and then, if you need to eat before you go to bed. Some people don't.
Yeah, some people do, some people don't.
Yeah.
And yeah, I remember I had asked you about that because I was like, sometimes, is your body going to digest the food okay? Or is it going to be busy working on all your digestion instead of properly cleaning out your brain and doing all those processes, or can it do both?
Well, we need periods of fasting, and I'm not saying going days fasting, but you can do that if you want to. I personally don't do that because of how active I am. I personally have had a struggle doing that, but I have patients that can do it, or go most of the day without eating and then have a meal or two within a 6 hour window, and then they're good. So there's something different that works for everybody, especially beginning carnivore. There's going to be that adaptation period, because it takes about 7 days to truly get into ketosis. On day 3 is when you will usually notice real low energy, and you'll feel like you just need to keep eating and you can't get enough energy. Yeah, that's because you're transitioning from utilizing carbohydrates or glucose as fuel to fatty acids as fuel, right? So there's that transition period, which takes about 92 hours, and then with as active as I am, I'm not a competitive athlete anymore. I have been, but I still work out pretty intensely, and you're going to notice a lag in your energy when you work out. I noticed that for about a month. It took me about a month to really start feeling energized for my workouts again. And then now it's been a year and I feel absolutely amazing. Perfect energy when I work out, perfect sleep, perfect mindset. My mood's always good. Being a business owner of more than one business, I am dealing with a lot of things throughout the day, and I notice that I can handle it, no problem. It doesn't make me feel, like I'm under pressure. I don't feel that way. I just feel like I can handle anything, and it's largely because of the diet, because I didn't do anything different. But the diet. I mean, I've always been a pretty positive person, I feel, but I'm able to handle the challenges that come to me on a daily basis way better now on a carnivore diet, because it, when you give your body the proper nutrients, your neurotransmitters, your hormones, and every biochemical in your body is optimized and working to its full potential. When you're eating crap, you're inhibiting a lot of these processes. There's not a single biochemical pathway in the human body that requires us to consume carbohydrates. So when you're consuming carbohydrates on top of everything else, that you're doing, we're creating illness. We're creating a backup in some of these pathways. They're not functioning properly. We're not methylating through these pathways and creating the methylation of substrates so that they're activated. There's millions of biochemical processes taking place in our body every second. Which one of those do you think you can pinpoint? Right? You can't. You can't pinpoint any of them. You just have to do overall what's right for you as a human, as a Homo sapiens sapien, in terms of your diet, in terms of getting sunlight in your eyes, getting your feet on the ground at least once a day for, I say, 10 minutes minimum, and that's kind of wimpy, considering we used to spend 85% of our time connected to the earth. So if I could get somebody outside just 10 minutes a day, that's huge. Sometimes.
That's a win, right?
And they can actually see improvement in their health just in that 10 minutes a day. So I had a patient that was, he was really sick. He was young. He was in his 20s. And we thought he had Lyme, but he wasn't testing positive for Lyme. And so what he did for the summers, he went and slept in a tent on his grandpa's property. And that summer he started to heal. We didn't do anything different. He was just doing that while we were trying to figure out what's wrong with him. Come to find out, he had 2 co-infections. It wasn't Lyme, but it was something that came from a tick bite.
Okay.
And so he had these co-infections, and that was what was making him sick. But just being outside all summer, his body started to heal, not doing anything different. Eventually, he had to be on a regimen to get rid of that infection, and it was harsh. And then, we had to work on healing his body as a result of the antibiotics that were required for this, because that's the only way to get rid of these, these offenders. So,
fair.
But yes, so even just 10 minutes with your bare feet on the earth a day can make a huge difference in your health outcome. Cold plunge and sauna are great. I have some videos on my channel about that. Contrast therapy and hormetics. In 2 of my videos, I called it hermetics, and I don't know why I did that. I thought about taking them down and doing them over. But anyway, if you watch those videos and I say hermetics, it's not hermetics, it's hormetics. I knew what I was talking about. I don't know why I was saying it that way.
It was your higher vibration.
Oh my God, yeah, something was coming through. I think it was an interference in my signal or something. Hormetics, I'll just clarify that now. So what hormetics is when there's an acute stress to the body that triggers a healing response. So like the cold shock therapy, with the cold plunge, the heat therapy with the sauna, the contrast therapy, which I do in the shower. I'll take a bucket of ice with me and I'll do hot for 3 minutes and I'll ice myself down for a minute. 30 seconds to a minute is usually recommended, times 3. It boosts what's called your natural killer cells Your natural killer cells will kill any foreign invader on contact. So our innate, it's part of our innate immune system.
Mm-hmm.
Our adaptive immune system requires an immune response before it will respond or, take action. So it's delayed. So our natural killer cells are part of our innate immune system, kills cancer cells and everything on sight, on contact. What the contrast therapy does is it boosts these immune cells tremendously. That you wonder why. What's his name? He's the guy that does the cold.
Wim Hof, is he the
Wim
breather
Hof,
too? Because
yes.
I was going to ask you about the breathing too. Would you suggest breathing, the Wim Hof breathing?
Oh yeah,
it's good. It's
absolutely.
life-changing.
Yeah, that would be another conversation for another time. There's so many things we could cover today.
Fair.
And we'll have to do this again. But yes, the cold, it really does boost your natural killer cells. Where he's done experiments where he's consuming E. coli and not getting sick from it.
I saw that.
Where anybody else would probably be deathly ill, if not kill them.
Yeah.
So, so if you think about hormetics, not hermetics, hormetics, and how it affects the body, doing something hormetic every day can really benefit your health and your immune function, and not only for colds and flus and these viral infections that come around annually, but for long-term chronic illness like cancers and autoimmunity and other things, that humans as a species are plagued with as a result of modern day living. Hormetics can be a really good way to mitigate that. So we have the diet, we have the carnivore diet, we have hormetics, these shock therapies that boost the immune system, earthing, which is also called grounding, getting your feet on the earth for at least 10 minutes a day. 30 is better, but if I can get busy people to just get their feet on the earth for 10 minutes a day, I'm happy. Mm-hmm. And first thing in the morning, get your eyes in the brightest part of the sky that they can tolerate, to help to remind the brain that it's time to be awake. Mm-hmm. So you get the increase in the cortisol in the morning, and the melatonin should be lower, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. And then as we go out throughout the day, those they switch. Mm-hmm. So by the time it's time to sleep, you should have higher levels of melatonin and lower levels of cortisol. Well, with modern day living, with the blue light and being in front of screens, all these things that we experience, our sleep-wake cycle's off. Our circadian rhythm is affected mm-hmm. strongly. So getting away from the blue light, at least an hour before bed, mm-hmm. or wearing the blue light glasses. If you are going to watch TV or something, I recommend doing something relaxing, like listening to music without words, like symphony or something like that. Mm-hmm. Get away from TV before bed, and then limiting screen time during the day. I can't, because of the jobs that I do. I have to be in front of the computer all day. But if I didn't have to be, trust me, I wouldn't be there either. Yeah, I'd be doing something else. But and just mindfulness meditation can really help, just to set your intention throughout the day. I like to start my day first thing in the morning with setting my intention, writing out my goals, what I want to accomplish, evaluating my goals from the day before, mm-hmm. what I want to accomplish today, and then continually doing that on a daily basis, just to keep myself kind of acutely aware of where I'm at in my process of things, what I'm doing, and how to build my next empire. I've built several so far. I want to continue to build them. I get bored easy, mm-hmm. So that's why I can handle a lot of things as you can. You tend to be able to plate. You tend to be able to take on a lot and accomplish, and that's so admirable to me. Oh. So you've come a long way. Your journey has been amazing, and I do want to come back for another episode and talk about your fitness goals and some other things that we didn't have time for today. But do you have any social media, or are you doing anything on social media where people can find you, or if they? I know you're going to be starting this this food. Are you calling it catering, or what are you calling it? Food service?
So essentially, it's going to be like a meal prep / catering business. So it's called the Lion's Share of Food Prep Catering.
Okay.
And so it's going to just start out real small right now here within the Phoenix metropolitan area, just actually on the east side. Really, really kind of small. And the socials are currently being built for that right now. The website's currently being built for that right now. So it's a little preemptive. But if you want to, I have a handle on Instagram, which is from bariatric to bodybuilder, or what is it? From bariatric to bodybuilder. So FBBTB, I think. And
We'll get that in the description below.
something
Yeah.
like that. And I don't know. I always think it's super great. It's a wonderful thing. And
We'll
people
also
ask
put your
me,
phone number and social security there too, so that
something like that.
so the feds can find you.
Here's my bank account number. Something like that. Something like that. Yeah, I'll be honest with you, I didn't even think about it, but yeah, that's definitely a thing. I'm still also available on Facebook under my name, Shannon Richardson. For now, that will eventually change. But yeah, those are the socials that I'm on. Where, like I said, the Instagram for the lion's share should be up momentarily, if not now, through the weekend. So
okay. So you're actively getting it up and running now.
Yeah, we're actively getting it up and going. And then I'm currently still in contract with an individual who's building the actual website, because we need to be able to have something. I wanted to have something where it's like an app website kind of thing, where someone could actually go online and actually order items, and what that looks like, whether it's a subscription service or just a la carte, or how it is they want to start, or just a couple of meals. Very, very much like HelloFresh, but not like HelloFresh. Like, I really want to make sure it's a very simple menu, maybe 5 or 6 items to start, just kind of testing the market, seeing where we go with it. Like I said, it's still very new. It's still something that I feel like we're ahead on the market of. It's a good gap. So we'll see where it goes. But there's that, and then I also am actually going to premiere my YouTube channel. For many, many, many a year, I thought about how it was I was going to do it. And I actually am going to start that. And that is, it's going to be called 1 Pound at a Time. And I'm going to start this first series off. I actually have been going to school. I will be graduating in May.
Yes.
And from a tech school, actually, business technology, and with a couple of associate's degrees, network security, business technology, as well as, digital marketing.
Yeah.
Surprisingly enough, I didn't think I had enough credits, but I get all those wonderful, fabulous degree names.
Yeah.
And I wanted to look the best I could, just like on my 39th birthday. So for my graduation, I kind of wanted to do a little bit of a play on the Matrix, where, Neo couldn't pay attention in the Matrix. He was looking at the woman in the red dress. So I'm calling my first series The Woman in the Red Dress.
Oh, that's
because
awesome.
I want to be the woman in the red dress when I walk across that stage. I want to be a knockout. And so what that looks like, and the trials and tribulations of all of that, and the ups and downs and the struggles. So, which I don't think there'll be many struggles. I'm going to really push for a lot of that positivity.
It's all up.
But yeah, adding that onto my plate too. So I'm like, my fingers are crossed, hoping that I can efficiently navigate my time better.
Yeah.
But with the carnivore diet, it does add amounts of clarity. Also a level headedness too. Keeps me in my prefrontal cortex. It keeps me out of my constant meandering and thinking all the time. And it genuinely helps to keep me focused on those things, and keep me focused on the long-term goals, and my good schedule, as well as my sleep. So it's got great benefits. So
people need this if they want to accomplish great things.
Anything
really.
in life.
People don't understand how important diet is. It's the foundation of life. It's the foundation of who you become. And you need to have the energy, the focus, and the clarity, the sleep, and the energy and the good mood to be able to accomplish great things. If you're, feeling tired, and your mindset isn't right, and you're plagued with negativity, all this stuff has to do with our biochemistry. It doesn't mean that circumstances don't play into that, but how are you responding to your circumstances? That's the key right there. How are we responding to it? We all have things that come into our life, but what's our response to it?
Right.
Is it, oh, poor me, I'm a victim, thinking, oh, I'm never going to get ahead, I'll never get on top of this? Or is it, yeah, this is just making me stronger, I got this, I'm going to beat the ass of this thing to get, and I'm going to use it as a stool to get up to here.
Yep. Absolutely, because I got to climb over that fence somehow, and if I'm gonna, throw my hat over there, then I got to build that stool, build that ladder, get over there.
Yep.
And even then, once I'm there, there's still yet another fence to climb, another thing to do.
Absolutely.
So positivity of mind. It can play havoc every once in a while. I'm not perfect. I mean, gosh, I can get in my own little head, but I've got good resources and good support. I'm really
Yeah.
surprised at the support that I actually have
Yeah.
around me that goes, hey, hey, hey. And it's funny because it's not like, well, now it's like, no, hey, 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 no, 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 no. Or, well, you could think that way, and I guess you could, but then what could you manifest with that? Nothing, nothing. That's right, nothing. So, get off your ass and do something.
Yeah.
Action. So.
All right, Shannon. Well, thank you so much for being here today. And as you heard, Shannon can be reached through her upcoming website, Facebook, Instagram. You said Instagram, right?
Yes.
Instagram. I'll put that in the description below so that you can reach out to Shannon or follow her. With your YouTube channel, I'm going to have to insist on being a guest at some point because because I know she's going to be cooking carnivore and I'm going to really dig that. So
yep, for sure.
And I want to try some of the foods the meals that you prepare. And hey guys, if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to the channel. It really helps me to be able to take the time to bring more and more guests to the platform here. And thank you so much.
It's my pleasure.
See you next time.
Thank you so much for having me.